Welcome, beautiful Sigma ladies. The rarest power is the ability to move through the world without leaving fingerprints. Modern culture runs on visibility, likes, receipts, and constant proof of presence, yet a Sigma flips that script with the casual confidence of someone who doesn't need to be tracked. Psychologists call it low signal dominance, a trait found in barely 4% of personality profiles, and it drives other men quietly insane. They appear, influence the atmosphere, and vanish before anyone can measure their impact, like someone who borrowed gravity for the night and returned it before dawn. One moment, they're laughing at a private thought. The next, they've turned an ordinary cafe seat into a command center. It's not rebellion for show, it's freedom as muscle memory. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on 12 truly weird moves, the kind that make modern men tilt their heads like a confused golden retriever. Buckle up, because these aren't the usual alpha-beta bedtime stories. These are the glitch-in-the-matrix habits that only a Sigma can pull off, and they're as fascinating as they are impossible to imitate. Number 1. They blur the line between stranger and confidant. A Sigma has a way of breaking the usual rules of closeness that most people rely on. One minute they can share something deeply personal with a person they barely know, a taxi driver, a stranger at a late-night diner, and the next, they can keep their oldest friends completely in the dark about the same topic. This isn't about mood swings or secrecy for drama's sake. It's the way they build connection on their own terms, choosing moments and people without any obvious pattern. That unpredictability leaves modern men, who often measure friendship by years, shared experiences, and regular updates, wondering where they really stand. For the Sigma, intimacy isn't a ladder you climb rung by rung. They don't believe that more time automatically earns more access. What matters is the spark of authenticity in a conversation, even if it lasts only 10 minutes. If they meet someone who cuts through small talk and gets real, they may reveal thoughts they've carried for years, while a longtime buddy who sticks to routine banter may never hear those same truths. It's a different metric for trust, based on depth rather than duration. This habit disorients men who expect predictable roles. A coworker might suddenly learn a Sigma's private philosophy over a casual lunch, while a lifelong friend remains unaware of that side of them. It's not a slight. It's a reflection of how carefully they guard their inner world. They're allergic to forced disclosure, and they refuse to hand out personal details like loyalty points. If the moment doesn't feel real, they keep it locked away. What makes it even more confusing is how normal they act after these unexpected disclosures. They don't circle back for reassurance or turn the conversation into a dramatic bond. They simply move on, as if nothing unusual happened. The stranger goes home holding a secret, and the close friend stays in the dark, and the Sigma remains completely comfortable with both situations. For men used to clear boundaries, acquaintance, friend, confidant, this creates a quiet tension. They can't read the signals or calculate their rank in the Sigma's life. The result is both magnetic and unsettling. People feel drawn in even when they can't explain why, and the Sigma stays free, shaping connection without ever being trapped by it. Number 2. They read a room backwards. A Sigma notices the room in reverse. While most people instinctively focus on the loudest voice or the center of attention, they scan the edges first. Their eyes find the quiet observer by the wall, the person who hasn't said much, the subtle shift in posture that signals someone is actually steering the energy without saying a word. This isn't a calculated trick. It's the way their attention naturally works. They're less impressed by the performer and more interested in the undercurrent, the signals others overlook. Modern men who equate dominance with volume or visibility struggle to understand how someone can command a space without ever competing for it. This backward reading of a room lets a Sigma pick up details that change the whole dynamic. They notice the half-second glance between two people who are secretly aligned, the tiny hesitation before a laugh that means someone disagrees, the way a chair is angled to create distance. By the time others are reacting to what's obvious, the Sigma already knows who's bored, who's hiding something, and who actually holds influence. They treat social energy like a map, tracing the unseen routes while everyone else crowds the main road. Because of this, their conversations feel unusually direct. They will pivot a discussion toward the person no one else is paying attention to, not out of pity, but because they sense where the real substance lives. They can draw out the quietest individual, and without effort, shift the entire atmosphere. Men who thrive on being the loudest or the most charismatic often find themselves unsettled, unsure how they lost the spotlight to someone who barely said a word. What makes this ability even more disarming is its subtlety. The Sigma isn't trying to manipulate or dominate. They simply prefer authenticity over spectacle, and that instinct rewires the social order in the moment. People start revealing more, arguments deflate, and hidden alliances surface, all because one person paid attention to what everyone else ignored. For modern men accustomed to linear hierarchies, who's first, who's next, this quiet rearranging feels like a glitch. They can sense the Sigma's influence but can't point to a single action that caused it. The effect is magnetic and confusing: power without display, leadership without the performance, and a presence that rewrites the room before anyone realizes it happened. Number 3. They reject the visible hustle. A Sigma rejects the need to advertise effort. While most people feel compelled to post every late-night grind, motivational quote, or progress update, the Sigma quietly works without anyone noticing. They don't broadcast their moves on social media. They don't drop hints in conversations, and they don't feel the need to prove how hard they're working. Their projects, their growth, and their ambitions happen in silence, often far from anyone's gaze. This confuses modern men who measure success by visibility. In a culture obsessed with proof, screenshots, status updates, Instagram stories, a Sigma appears inactive, even lazy, while they are methodically building skills, networks, or financial security behind the scenes. By the time results emerge, it's almost shocking. A project that seemed impossible is finished. A business that appeared dormant suddenly thrives, and achievements seem to materialize out of thin air. Men who rely on comparison struggle with this approach. They track others' hours, their posts, their shared victories, assuming they reflect real progress. The Sigma proves that visibility is not a measure of capability. In fact, their low-profile approach gives them an edge. Competitors can't anticipate their moves, friends can't comment on them, and rivals can't interfere with their trajectory. This rejection of visible hustle isn't about being secretive for ego or control. It's a fundamental mindset. Their energy is too valuable to waste on attention-seeking, validation, or posturing. Every move is intentional, not performative. They value substance over recognition, results over applause, and mastery over display. By working in the shadows, the Sigma forces modern men to rethink assumptions about ambition. Just because someone isn't visible doesn't mean they aren't dominant. In fact, the quietest presence often wields the most influence because progress hidden is progress uncontested. It's not just building in silence, it's building untouchable. Number 4. They ignore the peacocking economy. A Sigma ignores the usual social scoreboard. While most men chase status symbols, flashy cars, expensive watches, brand-name clothes, or the constant performance of networking, they treat these things like a currency a Sigma doesn't care to spend. To them, the louder the flex, the less meaningful it is. They don't play the same game, and that drives people who equate visibility with power absolutely crazy. Instead, a Sigma invests in things that are quietly valuable but often invisible to the casual observer. It could be rare books, obscure knowledge, unique tools, or experiences that refine their skill set. These purchases and investments rarely earn public recognition, and that's the point. While everyone else is measuring influence by applause or Instagram likes, the Sigma is quietly stacking advantage in ways that are almost impossible to track or compete with. This behavior scrambles expectations. Men conditioned to compare themselves through visible markers can't gauge the Sigma's progress or influence. They see someone without a flashy car and assume inferiority, not realizing that the Sigma is miles ahead in capability, knowledge, or resourcefulness. The Sigma rewrites the rules. Influence isn't earned by display, it's earned through utility, mastery, and quiet accumulation. What makes this even more unsettling is how naturally they do it. There's no overthinking, no "I must appear rich or successful" strategy. They are selective with their investments, choosing only what adds real value to their life or their freedom. Luxury is measured in depth, not display. Power is measured in autonomy, not approval. By ignoring the peacocking economy, a Sigma becomes untouchable in social hierarchies based on showmanship. Men can't mimic them, can't measure them, and can't manipulate the system because the Sigma doesn't participate in it. It's influence without spectacle, wealth without a billboard, and authority that quietly accumulates while the rest of the world chases applause. In short, the Sigma proves that real power doesn't announce itself, it simply exists. Number 5. They rewrite the timetable of friendship. A Sigma rewrites how friendship works. While most men expect steady communication, regular check-ins, and visible signs of loyalty, the Sigma operates on a completely different rhythm. They might vanish for months, no messages, no calls, no updates, and then reappear as if no time has passed at all. There's no awkward catching up, no forced explanation, no guilt trips. To them, friendship isn't measured in hours spent texting or posts liked. It's measured in understanding, connection, and the depth of the bond itself. This behavior completely confuses men who rely on constant presence as proof of commitment. In modern culture, loyalty often wears a digital badge. Read receipts, social media interactions, even daily memes exchanged. The Sigma disregards all of it. Their absence doesn't weaken the friendship. In fact, it can make the bond stronger. The people who stay are those who truly value connection, not convenience or performance. When they return, it's seamless. Conversations pick up right where they left off, and shared experiences continue without the need to fill gaps with explanations or justifications. Men conditioned to measure friendship through frequency of contact often find themselves off balance, trying to quantify a connection that doesn't follow conventional rules. This approach forces others to rethink dependency and expectation. The Sigma teaches that relationships don't need constant maintenance to thrive. They need authenticity, presence when it matters, and respect for individual space. It's a paradox. By being absent, they prove their presence matters more. The Sigma's timetable is a lesson in autonomy within connection. They are loyal, but not to schedules or social norms. They are loyal to the value they see in a relationship itself. For men, used to predictable patterns and constant updates, this rhythm is impossible to decode, which is exactly the point. The Sigma doesn't exist to be predictable or convenient. Their friendships operate on a different clock, one that confuses, intrigues, and ultimately demands a deeper appreciation for genuine connection. Number 6. They withhold the why. A Sigma has a way of moving through life that defies conventional explanation. When they make a major shift, changing cities, leaving a job, or ending a relationship, they rarely offer the reasoning behind it. There's no long monologue, no detailed timeline, no justification meant to soothe or satisfy anyone else's curiosity. For men who need to understand every step, every cause and effect, this behavior is infuriating. It breaks their need for control, their expectation that life events should be explained and categorized. The Sigma doesn't withhold the why out of malice or manipulation. It's a principle. Their decisions belong to them first, not to public opinion, gossip, or even the people closest to them. Explaining every move diminishes the autonomy they prize. They operate on instinct, observation, and long-term strategy that rarely aligns with external logic. What seems abrupt or illogical to others often has a precise personal rationale, but it's theirs to hold, not anyone else's to demand. This secrecy has a strange power. Men who expect transparency feel a mix of frustration and fascination. They replay the events in their mind, searching for patterns or clues, but the Sigma remains calm, almost amused by the futile search. The absence of explanation forces others to confront uncertainty, which they are often uncomfortable doing. It's a test of patience, but also a mirror. It reveals how much people project their own need for understanding onto someone else. What makes this even more disorienting is how seamlessly the Sigma moves on. Life-altering decisions are not dramatized, they're enacted. The city is changed, the job is done, the relationship is over, and they exist in the new reality without backward glances. Men conditioned to rely on reasoning and discussion as a way to process events struggle to accept that not everything in life needs to be decoded, argued over, or rationalized externally. Withholding the why is a Sigma's ultimate assertion of independence. It reminds everyone that their life is theirs alone. The lesson is subtle but profound. You cannot fully own someone else's choices, and the real power often lies in the quiet confidence of moving forward without explanation. Number 7. They weaponize ordinary spaces. A Sigma treats space differently than most people. For them, a corner seat in a cafe isn't just a seat. It's a position of control, a private fortress where they observe the room, assess dynamics, and move through the environment on their own terms. They understand how physical space influences perception and behavior, and they exploit it quietly, almost invisibly. A table by the window, a chair angled just so, a subtle shift in lighting or objects. These are all tools to create comfort, dominance, and clarity without drawing attention. Men accustomed to more obvious displays of control, loud voices, expansive gestures, or visible authority, are often blind to this kind of influence. They don't notice how a Sigma subtly shifts the flow of a room. Someone might adjust a chair to block a line of sight or move an object to signal unspoken boundaries. The Sigma can guide interactions and energy in a room without saying a word. Others react to the environment they've unconsciously reshaped, giving the Sigma influence that feels effortless. This ability extends beyond cafes. Whether it's an office, a living room, or a social gathering, a Sigma reads the layout and the people, then makes small, almost imperceptible moves that shift the balance. A door left slightly ajar, a seating arrangement subtly altered, a light dimmed or brightened. All of it communicates authority and security without the need for explanation or display. Men who rely on overt dominance or verbal signaling struggle to recognize the power of these micro-actions. What makes it extraordinary is that this control feels invisible. People rarely realize they are being influenced until they've already adapted to the Sigma's presence. It's not manipulation in the traditional sense. It's strategic awareness combined with instinct. They don't need to assert themselves verbally because the space itself supports them. The room bends to their rhythm without anyone consciously noticing. By weaponizing ordinary spaces, the Sigma creates an environment that maximizes their comfort, security, and advantage while subtly guiding everyone else's behavior. It's power without performance, control without confrontation, and presence without display. This quiet mastery of surroundings leaves modern men both intrigued and disoriented because it's influence that cannot be challenged directly. It's simply there, unspoken, undeniable. Number 8. They show zero competitive reflex. A Sigma doesn't engage in the usual social games of competition. When a man brags about his salary, his latest achievement, or his physical feats, the Sigma doesn't respond with comparison, critique, or subtle one-upmanship. They don't feel the need to prove themselves or assert dominance in response. To most men, this lack of reflex is baffling. They are wired to measure status, strength, and success through constant comparison. But the Sigma operates outside that system entirely. This absence of rivalry creates a strange kind of tension. Men expect their accomplishments to trigger envy, respect, or at least acknowledgement. But the Sigma's indifference acts like a mirror that reflects only what the person projecting sees. It exposes how much of their identity depends on being ahead of someone else. The Sigma doesn't feed that need, and in doing so, makes them confront a truth they often avoid. Success, recognition, and confidence are meaningless unless they come from within. What makes this behavior so disorienting is its subtle power. By refusing to compete, the Sigma automatically shifts the focus. Others may find themselves over-explaining, over-performing, or even exaggerating just to get a reaction that never comes. The Sigma's calm neutrality undermines the social rituals of rivalry without ever engaging in conflict. Men who thrive on proving themselves feel exposed and disarmed because the rules they rely on no longer apply. The Sigma isn't indifferent because they lack ambition or awareness. They simply recognize that true influence doesn't require proving superiority in every interaction. They measure power differently, through autonomy, skill, insight, and presence, rather than status markers or temporary victories. This approach allows them to operate with freedom, unbothered by competition that doesn't serve a meaningful purpose. By showing zero competitive reflex, the Sigma forces others to confront their insecurities and rethink their assumptions about dominance. Men who expect confrontation or comparison are left confused, intrigued, and often humbled. In essence, the Sigma rewrites the rules of social interaction. Real strength doesn't announce itself through rivalry. It exists quietly, undeniably, and without the need for validation. Number 9. They redefine luxury as total privacy. A Sigma redefines what luxury really means. While most men equate wealth with flashy cars, yachts, penthouses, or other visible markers, a Sigma values something far rarer: total privacy. It's not about what you can display, it's about what you can experience without being seen, tracked, or interrupted. Walking through a city without recognition, enjoying a cafe without cameras or chatter, or traveling without anyone knowing their route, is a kind of wealth that status-driven men can't even conceptualize. This invisible form of luxury completely confuses those who measure success by visibility. The Sigma might have the same resources as someone flaunting a brand, but they invest in autonomy rather than applause. A hidden apartment, an unlisted membership, a private workspace, these are treasures because they create freedom and control over one's environment. Unlike conventional wealth, it doesn't invite judgment, competition, or imitation. You can't compete with privacy the way you compete with a car or a watch. The power of this approach is subtle but undeniable. Men who chase outward symbols of status often feel trapped in the economy of comparison. Who is richer, stronger, more recognized? A Sigma sidesteps that entirely. They enjoy experiences and comfort that others can't quantify, creating a quiet superiority that's impossible to challenge because it doesn't exist on the scoreboard others are reading. What makes this so compelling is how effortlessly it manifests. They don't need to announce their choices or flaunt exclusivity. Privacy itself becomes a form of influence. People respect boundaries, adjust their behavior, and often wonder why the Sigma seems untouchable or unreachable. This kind of luxury is both protective and empowering. It shields them from intrusion while amplifying their presence in ways that are impossible to manufacture with money alone. By redefining luxury as total privacy, the Sigma exposes the shallow nature of conventional status. Men who rely on visibility to feel powerful are left unsettled, watching someone navigate the same world with freedom they can't grasp. It's wealth without spectacle, influence without display, and comfort without exposure, a form of mastery that only those who understand true autonomy can appreciate. Number 10. They rewrite masculine energy. A Sigma carries a type of masculine energy that defies categorization. They are neither aggressively alpha nor passively soft. Their presence doesn't fit neatly into the labels most men are comfortable with. This quiet charge is subtle but undeniable. It's felt in posture, in tone, in the way they move through a room, and in the way they respond or don't respond to challenges. Men who try to measure influence through traditional dominance hierarchies find themselves off balance, because the Sigma doesn't play by the same rules. This energy is disorienting because it's self-contained. They don't need approval, they don't seek confrontation, and they don't feel compelled to prove anything. Yet their confidence and control are palpable. Other men may attempt to assert themselves, to test limits, or to provoke a reaction, but the Sigma remains unaffected, maintaining a steady internal rhythm. That steadiness radiates power without performance, leaving others scrambling to understand how someone can dominate a space without asserting dominance in conventional ways. What makes this energy exceptional is how it reshapes interactions. People instinctively respond to it, often unconsciously. Conversations flow differently, decisions are influenced subtly, and conflicts dissipate without overt action. Men who rely on loudness, aggression, or visible displays of competence find themselves overshadowed by someone who barely raises their voice. The Sigma isn't trying to compete. Their energy simply shifts the environment around them. This redefinition of masculine energy also frees them from social pressure. They aren't bound by stereotypes of toughness, aggression, or bravado. Vulnerability, focus, and calmness coexist seamlessly with strength and presence. It's a balance most men can't achieve because they feel compelled to pick a side, dominance or passivity. The Sigma rejects that binary entirely, creating a form of authority that is both magnetic and impossible to challenge. By rewriting masculine energy, the Sigma operates outside the conventional spectrum. They demonstrate that power doesn't have to be loud, aggression isn't required to command respect, and strength can exist quietly, almost invisibly. Men who try to classify or compete against them quickly realize that the rules they rely on no longer apply. And in that realization, the Sigma's influence becomes absolute. Number 11. They protect an inner hobby like a secret religion. A Sigma treats their passions like sacred ground. Their hobbies, whether it's restoring old radios, studying ancient maps, or mastering a skill that requires patience and precision, aren't for show. They aren't posted on social media, shared to impress, or leveraged to gain approval. The intensity of their devotion is private, bordering on ritualistic, and that secrecy gives the hobby a weight most people don't understand. For men who equate achievement or interest with recognition, this behavior is baffling. They expect hobbies to function as status markers, yet the Sigma's obsession exists purely for the sake of mastery, curiosity, or personal fulfillment. This dedication is both protective and empowering. By keeping it private, the Sigma ensures it remains untainted by judgment, comparison, or interruption. The hobby becomes a space for control, focus, and growth, completely under their terms. While others scramble for likes, comments, or visible success, the Sigma quietly advances, learning, refining, and evolving without anyone monitoring their progress. The absence of external validation amplifies the value of the pursuit, making it richer and more meaningful. Men who rely on social metrics struggle to interpret this behavior. They see someone pouring effort into an obscure interest without public acknowledgement and assume it's trivial or eccentric. They can't grasp that the Sigma gains far more from the internal satisfaction of skill and understanding than from any external approval. The Sigma's relationship with their hobby is intimate, disciplined, and uncompromising, which sets a standard that others can neither measure nor compete with. What's even more extraordinary is the way this private devotion shapes the Sigma's presence. Their confidence, knowledge, and composure often stem from these hidden pursuits. The skills they cultivate in solitude bleed into their interactions, subtly enhancing creativity, insight, and problem-solving. Yet no one can trace the source. To the outside world, it seems effortless. Behind the scenes, it's painstaking and sacred. By protecting an inner hobby like a secret religion, the Sigma demonstrates a principle that confounds conventional thinking. True mastery and fulfillment require neither audience nor applause. Men conditioned to equate hobbies with clout are left disoriented, unable to measure the value of what they cannot see, while the Sigma quietly thrives in a world entirely of their own making. Number 12. They build loyalty through absence. A Sigma builds loyalty in ways that defy conventional logic. While most people believe that closeness is measured by frequency, daily messages, constant updates, shared routines, the Sigma proves the opposite. They step back, disappear for weeks or months, and when they return, the bond feels stronger, almost magnetic. Distance doesn't weaken connection, it intensifies it. People are left with the memory of the Sigma's presence, the impact of their words, and the lingering sense of respect and intrigue that fills the spaces they leave behind. This approach completely confounds modern men who equate loyalty with visibility. In a culture of constant check-ins, pings, and social media interactions, absence is often interpreted as neglect, disinterest, or betrayal. But the Sigma turns this assumption on its head. Their disappearances are not withdrawals. They're strategic pauses that allow others to reassess, reflect, and often unknowingly, deepen their attachment. It's a paradox. By being physically or digitally distant, they become emotionally closer. The effect is subtle yet powerful. People notice when the Sigma returns. Conversations feel more meaningful, attention sharpens, and interactions carry weight. The bond isn't maintained through habitual presence. It's sustained through the Sigma's aura, integrity, and the selective energy they invest when they choose to reappear. Men who rely on constant signals to measure commitment find themselves unsettled. They can't calculate the sigma's value because it doesn't fit into the usual formulas of proximity and repetition. This method of building loyalty is a reflection of the sigma's independence and self-mastery. They are not tethered by expectations or social norms, yet they inspire trust and respect that often surpass conventional forms of attachment. Their relationships thrive not because of habitual presence, but because of deliberate, meaningful engagement punctuated by purposeful absence. By building loyalty through absence, the sigma flips the rules of connection. They demonstrate that true bonds aren't maintained by constant visibility. They are strengthened by trust, impact, and the space to recognize someone's unique value. Modern men, conditioned to equate closeness with frequency, are left baffled, intrigued, and quietly aware that the sigma operates on a higher, almost untouchable level of relational mastery. What ties all of these traits together is the sigma's unwavering commitment to autonomy, depth, and quiet mastery. They move through the world on their own terms, breaking the rules that most people assume are fixed. They disappear without explanation, build influence in silence, and cultivate interests and connections that defy conventional measurement. Their power isn't broadcast, it's lived, internalized, and reflected in every subtle choice, from how they occupy a space to how they invest their energy, attention, and time. Modern men, conditioned to chase visibility, comparison, and constant validation, find themselves disoriented because the sigma operates on a completely different frequency. Every action, every absence, and every deviation from expectation reinforces the same lesson. Influence, respect, and connection aren't earned by performance or approval. They emerge naturally when someone moves with purpose, independence, and uncompromising self-awareness. The sigma rewrites social rules, challenges assumptions, and forces those around them to confront a reality they rarely consider. True power exists quietly, unpredictably, and without permission. Understanding these behaviors isn't just fascinating, it's transformative. It teaches that freedom, loyalty, and mastery are cultivated internally, that influence doesn't require applause, and that the most compelling presence is often invisible until it asserts itself subtly, effortlessly, and undeniably. The sigma confounds, inspires, and reshapes perceptions, leaving everyone around them both intrigued and humbled. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of sigmas, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, comment your thoughts below, and share this video with anyone who needs to see it. Every interaction helps us bring you more content that's as rare, insightful, and mind-bending as the sigma world itself.